Kalimera, Kalispera, Kalinichta, no matter where in this weird and wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's Freestyle Friday and one of your favorites is here. Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, good afternoon, no matter where in the world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. I'm doing that in Greek now, by the way, at the beginning of the show. For those listening on our audio platforms, thank you for joining. And for those, most of you listening on replay, because it is Friday night, and hopefully a lot of you are out, or it's Friday afternoon and you'll be doing stuff at work or morning, or you're just getting your day started. Either way, we are happy that you are here and listening. And one of your favorites is back. The one, the only, the artisan of all artisans, Mr. Demian Arriaga.
Squaddies, one of my favorite things about this show is when Super Kev just leaves this pause. It's so dramatic. It's like he knows that people are like in their living rooms just like clapping for Kev. He just lets it simmer. I'm telling you, that man is class personified. And even though I'm 40, I want to be like Kevin Campbell when I grow up at some point in my life.
The dude never ages either.
It's insane.
You know what he says to me when I say that to him all the time? Even when Paul Davis was on, we have a laugh about it. Warren Barton was on like last week, and he's like, this guy never ages. And he's like, black never cracks.
Oh, my God. And also, I do have to say something. And I know there are people like me out there. I don't particularly love the look of a bow tie. I think it takes a very particular kind of person to wear a bow tie, especially you and I here in America, Sophie, that there's like certain like political pundits that wear, and you know, we kind of put them in this category of like, oh, you're that guy that always has to do that. However, when Super Kev Campbell wears it, that's such an exception to the rule, and I tip my hat to him. And
I know. I got a GQ campaign going for him yesterday. Yeah, he was on Sky Sports News in the morning, and he looked really good.
He looks great. He has a lot. Like, and I said, by the way, thank you for the coin. Thank you for this award that all you squaddies. I haven't gotten it yet. I haven't gotten it, but I saw the video a couple of days ago, and I'm so flattered not only by the words that you said, but all the love that I always get from all the squaddies. So it's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm just so beyond happy to talk to you. And get to catch up and talk about all things Arsenal and Arsenal women. And, you know, I love being here, so it's always a pleasure.
All right, cool. We've got a lot to talk about. Let's say good evening to some of the squaddies in the house. Lone Star. Lone Star. He's Lone Star Londoner, but is in Texas. You know, we got Lynn, who is just one of our OGs and all-time favorites. Turin in the house. We got Trev. We got Carol in the house. I wonder if she went. Okay. This woman's insane. I love her to pieces. She lives in. Oh, I won't give away where she lives. Can't do that. She lives somewhere in England by the sea. And you can imagine the sea's freezing, right?
Oh, like, yeah.
Freezing cold. And she goes swimming pretty much every morning. It's insane. And she's insane. And I absolutely love and adore her. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm inspired by it. We got Trevor in the house. We got Mark. I think this is the most confident. All right, we'll get to that, Mark. Hold your horses. G-Dog is in the house. Demsek is here. Demsek did not go for the Turkish kebab with Magic Mike, who's in London tonight. He got, this is why nice. Mark B isn't in the house, because he's out eating kebabs with Magic and Kaya from Football London, and they're all having a good time. They sent me a video earlier, and they say hi to everybody.
Amazing.
Yeah. We got Boy. We got we got Mark, he's really dropping them right now. Hooray. Arnie, your book is on the way. You may have already got it. Let's see. We don't know. We've got Alex in the house. It's the biggest weekend. It's Derby weekend for our boys and our girls as well. Matt G's in the house. Chief Like Officer in the house. Late. No yellow for you, Tammy. You work too hard. We got MK here. We love it when our Arsenal Los Angeles crew are in the house. Oh, she's here. That's awesome. As well. Yes, she's a huge fan of yours, and I know you're a huge fan of hers as well. We got Neil. We got Bumpy. Pretty much everyone's here. Mini Mod.
Welcome.
Yeah, Edison's here. And we also love it when you let us know what part of the world you're in. Unfortunately, Newman's here. He never ceases.
Oh, they're not grotesque. Newman, come on, dude.
He just loves rubbing.
By the way, can I just say, obviously, my love for Dutch people and Dutch players. Arthur Newman was a player from the Dennis Bergkamp days in 1998, that World Cup. That was so freaking fast. Every time I see Newman's name, I just want to talk about that.
But I bet Mudrik's
Faith No More, one of my favorite bands. I love Faith No More.
We got Amira in the house. Samir's here. Brady's Banana. GD. All right, the whole crew's here. The gang's here. Make sure you hit that like button. I will see you at the Manchester United game. The Tollington drive.
Oh, man. Incredible. By the way, GD with the best avatar I've seen in a long time. He quotes Rosa Parks saying, nah. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool. At Tollington, we'll talk about that later. I go there just to see people. There's nothing fun about being a sardine. And the Tollington is a sardine situation.
Yeah.
Crazy. We got Dublin Guna, who I'm sure will crack jokes. Could be the funniest person in the house. Chris Bandelli, Yasu Chris Mutigamnis, El Pizola Naina Kala, Mr. Zoiso.
Malaka.
All right, here we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything tonight. It's Freestyle Friday. We've got the North London Derby. We're going to get our final thoughts on that, Demian's thoughts. We'll get all of your predictions. Not yet. Hold your horses on that one. Our Arsenal women return against Chelsea. We owe them big time. So we're going to talk to Demian about that. I'll share with you some of our new signings as well. I know Jonas is very excited about the 3 new signings that we have made. But before, Demian, you and I really should go to Gunagral. What are we doing?
I don't know. This is the thing with my life as a musician. Because I get to do this for a living, it implies certain concessions that you have to make in your life. I don't like saying the word sacrifice, right? But there's things that you have to put in place for yourself to put your career ahead of anything else or anybody else, or try to be there when the time is right and not be busy, basically. And that implies never being able to plan ahead. Last time I planned a vacation, I hadn't taken a vacation for 14 years or something like that since I became a professional musician or whatever. And I finally planned it. And to go watch Arsenal, I booked flights, I booked hotels, bought tickets. I was supposed to go to 5 Arsenal women matches or 4 women matches and blah, 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 blah. And I landed in Heathrow to a text message asking me to come back, to fly back and play with Miley Cyrus. So I never got to experience that. I went to the FA Cup final against Chelsea. But I did, so that was like the last time I ever planned anything, because I cancel weddings. I've missed the births of my niece and nephew, the passing of people that I love. So I cannot ever plan anything. I can buy tickets to the World Cup and I can want to go. And if I have one show that could be very important for my career or whatnot, I have to take it. And that's,
I know. That's just how it is. It was very much like that when I was in film production.
Right.
You just have to go with, especially because, a film could take you could end up being on a film for 2-3 months, depending on, if you're crew, you're there for the shoot. But if you're in production, you're talking about a lot of work for over a longer period of time.
Right.
By the way, before we carry on this, I love the mistake on this post from our chief officer, Tammy, because she wants to say Demian is my favorite guest, but she says quest. And I'm like, when did this happen?
It's a quest for people to know that my name is Demian and not Damien. That's one of my life quests. But thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that.
I love it. Absolutely brilliant. Bruce absolutely loves this program, and we love you too,
Awesome,
Bruce,
Bruce.
as well. So yeah, no, I totally get that. So before we get stuck in, you did have, and I shared it with the squaddies, and they've all been curious, this mega show on New Year's Eve.
I did.
Excuse me. Look, okay. I don't know why you brought it to my attention, but Miley Cyrus, don't shoot me, squaddies, and everyone listening on replay. I don't know if you've seen Miley Cyrus recently, but my God, she looks hot. Her legs are insane. I thought Carrie Underwood or Steffi Graf had the best legs ever. Miley Cyrus is rivaling that. But, dude, Dolly Parton, come on.
I mean, it was, by the way, thank you for sharing and showing so much love. It was very special to hear from you and from the squaddies and everybody that shared that and liked the post. I appreciate it. But it was amazing. You know, it was a month's work, a month's full of work, or however you say that in English. And, you know, we're lucky to play with, obviously, Miley, whose music I adore, and she's the best ever. And to share the stage with people like Dolly Parton, who is such a legend and revered and loved by basically anybody and everybody in this country, regardless of political affiliation, social status. Like, everybody loves Dolly Parton. And she's a legend. And, you know, to be on the same stage with her, David Byrne from Talking Heads.
I mean, the David Byrne bit was insane.
Yeah, it was. It's just things that I can't believe, Sophie. It's like,
was he a good guy? Was he a good guy?
Oh, he's the nicest guy. And I have a couple of old college friends that have worked with him, so I mentioned that I know so and so, and it was like, oh, that's so cool, you know. And we talked for a little bit. He was super nice, very professional, very humble. And to play with Sia was great. Paris Hilton was outstanding.
By the way,
she could
sing.
She
gained some fans
nice.
That night.
She was awesome. She's stellar. Like, I'm telling you, everybody, she is outstanding. So I'm really happy that she got to sing and play, and so humble and nice and cool. And, you know, it's just, it was a lovely way, for personal reasons. It was lovely to sort of close the year on a high. And hopefully it transitions into the new year while I'm on stage performing. So the previous year brought something incredibly special, which was the very beginning of this year as far as professional activity. Then it was really, really slow for a long time. And it got really like touch and go, where I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And a couple of months later, I got this again. So personally, it was great. It signified, or meant a lot to me, and to share the stage with those amazing people, especially women that are badass and you know, beacons of strength and courage and creativity and art and humility. That's just the best part of what I do, you know.
I love that. There are a couple people asking about Sia.
What did they ask?
Well, just a question mark on a couple of them, because I think people maybe misunderstand Sia, because of course she does the whole hiding her face thing and everything. She's I've got Sia on my playlists. She's a very talented artist. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, she's outstanding.
Yeah.
Super nice, professional. You know, I've never had any horror stories with any artist that I've ever played with, Sophie. Like, I'm very lucky. Like, people always say, like, oh, you must have stories, like, spill the tea on, and literally it's like, they're the nicest. They asked me about the Jonas Brothers. They're the nicest. Miley, the nicest. How was David Byrne? The nicest. And what about Sia? She was awesome. Like, you know, some people interact more than others. You know, some people are more approachable and stuff like that. But what I will say is that in my experience, the bigger, more famous, more, you know, legendary they are, the nicest they are.
I agree.
That's what's happened in my life. Yeah. Not necessarily from an instrumental standpoint. Like, some of the most famous drummers or famous guitar players can be total divas, and I hate using that because it womanizes the negative part of a man.
It's all right. My handle's Soccer Diva. I've actually thought about changing it in these recent times.
I don't follow. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't follow me?
No, I didn't follow what you were saying, but I was trying to read what.
Oh, no, because you said you were trying to explain the diva thing, and I just thought.
Oh, no, of course. No. What I was saying is like sometimes when people talk about negatively about an artist, a female, they're like, oh, it's a diva. And then when it's a man, it's usually, she's such a diva. It's like everything is the diva, like men or women or whatever. So I'm trying to get away from that situation. So anyway.
Well, there's a lot of love for Miley and Dolly and everyone in the chat. And it was the best New Year's Eve show on American television and has been watched by millions across the world through social platforms. And it was great. And I was very proud of you. You looked very Reservoir Dogs that night too.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to do the trying to.
So do you have a tour coming up at all with Miley? No,
tours. Nothing that I as of yet that I know of. Just hoping, obviously, always hoping that the people that I play with tour and that they call me because I love touring. I love traveling the world, and I love working with people whose music means so much to others. You know, it's like playing for the Arsenal. You know, people. This club means so much to us. And no matter how much I try to separate my identity from what I do for a living, and I am a musician, that's kind of who I am, there's another layer to that. That's like before that, I'm a gooner. That's like gooner, or like, that's the top. And then, by the way, I also play music,
They need to make the whole band gooners,
Yeah. I'm working on a couple. I'm massaging a couple. One turned, so I'm excited. Yeah.
We got Mark and Magic Mike in the house who are out in London eating Turkish ribs right now, saying hello.
Can I say my respects to Mike for everything that you do? And I'm here, Gooners Pod, to officially tell you that next time you're raising funds, next time you're doing an auction, I will be part of it, and I want to offer lessons or one-on-one music mentorship as part of what you auction and what you give away, what you gift, whatever it is that you do. I am proud of you, and I'm privileged to be part of this community. And if there's anything that I can give back, please count on it. And I'm telling you now because I might forget later. So hold me accountable.
He won't let you forget. He will not let you forget. He won't let you forget at all. Arnie had a quick question for you. We are going to talk about Arsenal as well, but you know how Freestyle Friday goes, you guys. We'll get to it eventually. We love all of this entertainment talk as well. Just real quick, really super sad about Lisa Marie Presley. Did you ever have the opportunity to meet her or the Presley family?
No, not at all. I've similar to with Dolly, the Elvis phenomenon and the Dolly Parton phenomenon were completely opposite to where I was musically and culturally, but I respect obviously who they are and what they meant to the world and through life. So no, I never had the pleasure of working with her, being in any way, shape or form associated with her music or anything like that. But a lot of people are sad,
Yeah, very, very sad. It's really sad. Just really, especially after two nights prior, she was celebrating Austin Butler's win for Best Actor.
Yeah, my wife told me that this morning. It was pretty shocking.
Yeah. All right, so keep your questions coming in. I'm starring them. There's a really good one from Arnie, and there's a couple of other good ones from Mark as well. We're going to save them to the end of the show. Stay tuned because I have a very special announcement to make about Monday's show, and you guys aren't going to want to miss that. And also, while we're here, condolences to Beth Mead and Beth's family. A long battle against cancer, her mother, and her. I just choked up when I read her note today. And the Arsenal universe is sending Beth Mead lots of love. She's played through a lot. She's been going through a lot, seeing her mum suffer. And the just one beautiful thing, Demian, is that her mum saw her win the Euros and have that historical, trailblazing, groundbreaking moment. So our love to Beth, and I know that you adore her as well.
I do, and I'm short of words, to talk about this. This is such a difficult thing, but like you, I share all the love and the sentiments and the condolences, and that she's been a part of definitely my life and my falling in love with Arsenal. She's been monumental, and she wouldn't be there without her mom. And her mom was so proud of her, and went to all the matches and took her to training and worked many jobs and all that. So yeah, it's really sad. And yeah, she's gone through a lot. I think about, the injury and this, and then Viv's injury, and, Jordan leaving her best friend. And so it's a lot for people to handle. And actually, if I may be so selfish for a second, when I was at the show, getting ready for these performances, I had heard, or I had read the news in more of a, or I saw that the news became public, and I put a little JM on my bongos for June.
Oh, I love that.
To make sure that she knew that,
That's
the
amazing.
Arsenal family were with her in a moment. So.
And
Yeah,
Amira
really
said, and Amira, yes, the women's team will be wearing black armbands on Sunday, showing respect for and condolences for Beth and her family. And she did. She won Sports Personality of the Year. Lots of love coming in from Squad Central here. And yeah, she's been through a lot. A lot of people going through a lot. A lot goes on behind closed doors that we don't know about. Right, let's get stuck into our women's team just a little bit. Before we get Demian and everyone's final thoughts on the big North London derby. The women just have just a bigger game this weekend, people. And finally, Super League is back after the break. Arsenal doing quite well this season, as we all know. We are second in the league currently behind champions Chelsea. We trail by 3 points, but we do have a game in hand. And as we go into this match, yes, we do have some injuries, but we have some new signings. And I would love to know if any of you in the chat know anything about these new signings. I'm just going to share some tidbits with you. But this is what's happening so far. 9 games for us, 10 for them. They've scored 31 goals. We've scored 25. 60% general possession, 61 for Chelsea. 131 shots for the Gunners, 146 for the Blues. Shots on goal, 69, 76. And passes completed, you can see the difference there. Chelsea are definitely the team to beat, Demian. Just want to beat them so badly.
Oh
what are your thoughts going into this game? Are we finally going to conquer this?
Well, I just heard one of the most phenomenal, intelligent football analysts a couple of days ago on the Highbury Squad by the name of Sophie Nicolaou that mentioned that for the men, the league or the success of the season was made or broken at White Hart Lane, correct? Am I quoting you, paraphrasing correctly? It's symbolically,
sure,
that match, could have made the difference of the season anemically and momentum-wise and all these other things. Mathematically, for the past, I want to say 2 seasons or so, this particular fixture is what decided basically the title. So it's massive, 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 massive. So if I were to make an assessment of how I feel as far as confidence, I'm not going to lie, I'm very nervous because we don't have Beth Mead or Viviana Miedema or Jordan Nobbs, right? The 3 people that I think in sort of a knee-jerk way that understand the derby, know what it means. Of course, Kim Little and Leah Valti and Leah Williamson, of course. Everybody knows what it means. But there's something about the attacking players that we always feel like they're going to get us over the line, like with a men's team. So I am cautiously optimistic. I think we're due for a massive, hat-trick performance by a player. I'm really excited to see Katie McCabe play this season more and more. And, I do have a good feeling. I think that the defense, as long as we don't play Wooben Moy at the back, I'm super confident. I am not a.
It's not being harsh either, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like they're just players that fill me with confidence and players that don't. The opposite. And she's that player for me. She's the weak link in that defense. So as long as we don't start her, I'm very confident of whatever pairing we have with either Rafa and obviously Leah or Jen Beatty, with either one of them, or however Jonas lines them up. I just think that that's what I would do. And I guess my long-winded answer, if Lotte Wubben-Moy plays, I'm very not confident, and I would be confident that we would lose. Whereas if she's not in the starting lineup, at least I am filled with much more confidence going through the match with Frida coming back. Yeah, pushing Manum up will help. Yes,
Leonie, she's been really impressive, hasn't she?
Oh, incredible.
I mean, we knew when we signed her that she was kind of one of those. And there's another one I think that we've signed that could end up being Marnum, because sometimes a general fan will be like, who? But obviously Marnum came with a great reputation. She was very sought after, and she's really finding her feet, especially in a time now where the players that you mentioned that we've lost, Demian. I mean, this could really be like a signature season for her so early in her Arsenal career.
Absolutely. And she showed signs of that during her first season. And then she went through kind of a bit of a dip. And then that's usually at the moment where Viv came deeper onto the pitch to play more as a deeper, or a 10 more than number 9. So that's what a squad does. That's what we want. That's exactly what we need. And I'm so happy that she's stepping up. And of course, part of me is like, well, I'd rather have Jordan Knobs, and I'd rather have this. And what about when this player comes back? It's like, we'll deal with that when it happens. What a great problem to have. What a great problem to have.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's finally happening in the men's squad as well. So I think we're in a great position. And there's something about playing with a purpose, with an added bonus of what a game might mean for somebody that is with us or no longer with us in body. So I'm hoping that there's extra push and something beautiful happening this weekend for the club as a whole.
Well, Lynn thinks Arsenal ladies have a very good chance. Amira says, being the home team, we have to win if we want a chance to win the title. 100%.
Totally. And at the Emirates, it's huge. I mean, literally and figuratively, playing at the Emirates, it's going to be really nice. So I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm not nervous, honestly. I'm not like really nervous. I'm just excited. Because I whatever happens, I want it to happen quick so we know what happens. So if we lose, okay, this is what we have to do going forward. We can't lose against XY team. Whereas if we're just kind of waiting and hoping and, oh my God, when is that fixture? Everything's going to depend on the fixture. It might not also. Who knows what happens to Chelsea down the line? Who knows what happens to it? Man United are playing incredibly well. I just want it to happen.
They pulled it together and they've made some good signings. And well, that's what happened last season. We lost to Birmingham.
Exactly.
I mean, no one saw that coming.
Nope.
And unfortunately,
Louise Quinn
it undid us.
Damn saw it. I'm sure of that. And I'm sure she reminds people every single day in that group chat.
Rancid Pumpkin thinks you're being a bit harsh on Moy.
Well, Rancid Pumpkin, first of all, thank you for your comment. I'm not attacking her. What I'm saying is, I'm not criticizing her. I didn't spoke about her abilities or what she does or doesn't do or mistakes she's made in the past no. What I'm saying is that there are players that fill me with confidence and there are players that don't. She falls in the category of players that don't fill me with confidence. And I'm not criticizing her. I can't be harsh if it's just an opinion as far as what about a feeling,
But GD backs you here because I like Ruben Moy is our Rob Holding. Love them both when they're on the bench.
And that's
fair.
Yeah, I mean, just because somebody is from North London, they could have been born in Highbury, and I don't care. It's the same. They either fill me with confidence or they don't. It does, It's like Messi. Messi does not fill me with confidence when taking a penalty. I know he had a stellar World Cup, But there are many other players that I would choose over Messi to.
Like Maitland-Niles. If you were in a World Cup final, would you choose Maitland-Niles?
I don't know, but he's a savant. He's definitely a penalty-taking savant. But, there are other players, like I think if anybody that watched Messi through the years knows that he didn't always score penalties. There's
Harry Kane, I'd choose.
Yeah, Harry Kane never.
Up until the World Cup, though.
Yeah. By the way, that video you sent me from the side.
Isn't it crazy?
Oh, my goodness.
That is
he
pure
pressure. By
like
4 goals. It was insane.
I would have bet my house that he would have buried that. And when you see it from behind, you know that penalty is all about pressure.
Oh,
nothing more, nothing less. Because, guaranteed to score on Sunday as well. Runs with cows.
Of course.
Explain, what do you mean about Lena Hurtig, web management? You don't think they're writing enough about Lena? Is that what you mean? Let me know.
Yeah, by the way, that's an important comment because I think that the club as a whole can do a much better job featuring new players, more about their history, a little more about their bio, and so on and so forth. Even if it's a story on TikTok or a post on Instagram, I think they can be a little bit better at that. And up until recently, we had players on the website that had left the club like months ago.
Shoddy. Yeah.
So.
Lone Star thinks it's unacceptable to lose this game. I do too. I mean, look, we put pressure on all of our teams. This is, if you want to win the title, it's a bit like the men's team. You want to win the title, you've got to start beating Tottenham away, or you have to beat Manchester United at home. Unacceptable if we play poorly, perhaps, but is it unacceptable if we play really well and lose, Demian?
No, I mean, that's such a great comment by Lone Star. Like, I don't think there's such a thing as unacceptable unless it's a horrible foul or showing not even a matter of ability, showing no drive, showing no passion. That is what I think it's unacceptable as far as the standards that Arsenal Football Club should have. But as far as a result, the reason why I'm so sort of defiant about that or flippant about replying to this is that I have such a bad memory. Like, if you ask me right now and you put a gun to my head and you said, dude, you have to tell me the result of the last Chelsea-Arsenal match, I have no idea. I would have to check even my calendar and be like, oh, okay, that's what happened. I have very bad... Because in my head, I can remember what I feel, actually, but in my head, I have so much music that I need to learn. There's only so much capacity in my hard drive. And now I can't... Back in the day, I filled it with stats and I could tell you so many facts about Dennis Bergkamp. Now I can't. So don't take my word too seriously.
Yeah. Well, runs, they haven't updated. You know what? We'll write an email. That's unacceptable. Really unacceptable.
Stern. That's the kind of things that are unacceptable.
That's unacceptable.
I like it.
Yeah. We can't have another Manchester United performance. Oof.
Yeah. That was rough.
So that was rough. Okay. Before we get to our prediction for the game, we have signed a few new players. And one I'm pretty sure you're probably excited about, which is Victoria Pelova, who's come to us from Ajax. Victoria was in the Dutch World Cup team, played a part in getting them to that 2019 final. Jonas is very excited about her and another midfield signing that we have made. I think she can come into the team and contribute immediately. They've been tracking Victoria for quite a while. And as always, I would suggest that you swing over to Tim Stillman's column as well on Arsblog, because he does such a fantastic job of covering the women's team. And he did some brilliant interviews, by the way, at the unveiling of the new artwork at the Emirates the other night, including one with legendary Arsenal player, quadruple winner Leanne Sanderson. I think, Victoria is a really good signing. I think, we need the cover. We've seen, like, with injuries, we're having to go into the market. Demian, another signing that we have made is Catherine Cool. Now, a lot of people don't know about Catherine. She's 19 years old. She's a midfielder, and she is a little bit like Marnham, I think, coming into this with people who know their women's football in Europe very sought after player, very exciting. Jonas is super excited about her as well, coming in and contributing to the team. And another really interesting signing, a young player who can come in. And then Sabrina D'Angelo, who some of you have probably seen play goalkeeper for the Canadian team, bronze medal winner, I think. I don't know. You guys will correct me. But comes in with a ton of experience as well. Played in for a couple of US teams as well, including the Flash. So some interesting signings that I think the teams really needed, Demian.
Yeah, for sure. I think the adding to the squad is incredibly important in quality players. Cole is somebody that is rated as apparently even better than Pernilla Harder when she was that age.
It's crazy.
So that is just to say that is absurd, and we'll believe it if it happens. We definitely needed a keeper, especially with the rumors of potentially Manu Zinsberger leaving. I don't think it'll happen, but it's always important to have 3 solid keepers, and I'm not too convinced about our backup keeper, to be honest with you. And with Palova, it's really interesting because, as some of you know, I'm obsessed with the Dutch national team, and for a period of time, she was thought as the successor to DVD.
Yeah,
and that's not it. And she's not it.
Well, you would never think anyone is a successor to DVD.
However,
I mean, she's a good player.
No, I understand. She's a great player. I just think that a coach has yet to find her perfect position. And it happened with Jill Roord a lot at Arsenal, where she would go through these 4 or 5 match spells where she was stellar, and then she would be switched, and then it would take her a minute to get back into it, and then there would be an injury or whatever. So she never really got a fair run on the team. So I see Palova as an impact sub, if at all. I would rather see Mana Iwabuchi get many more minutes. And I would rather have Jordan Knob stay over Victoria Palova or Cole or anybody like that. Because
losing Jordan is so hard for so many reasons.
I mean, it's infinite. I mean,
she really wants to play in the World Cup if she can.
So I respect that. And one of the things for people that might be new to the WSL and women's football as a whole, transfers are way sooner, quicker, happen. Contracts are way shorter than with men. So to have a player last 12 years in a club is insane. And also, she can come back next year. If she can do this and try to be,
it's true.
and then come back, like that happens a lot. So I'm excited. I'm excited for her. If I can be selfish, and if I got over DVD and Jill Roord leaving, and Lisa Evans, it'll be fine for a little bit. It's gonna hurt, but hopefully these players will step up, and we need young blood, and we need people that are going to understand also what it is coming into Arsenal. The 2023 Arsenal, with a new art, with the inclusive philosophies, with refining who we are through Edu and all the execs and all this other stuff. And so I think there's something really special happening at the club, more than just a feeling. We have this. This is something that no other club has.
This is incredible. This is one of my favorite pieces. I bloody love this. I can't stop looking at it.
It's unbelievable. It's
phenomenal.
And to have both women and men being featured so prominently in it's just ridiculous. It's so beautiful. And the reality is that we have a history that very few clubs have. And we haven't won the Champions League and blah, 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 but there's something very special about
the women
that.
have.
Oh, women. Yes. I meant, what I was saying is, and thank you for the correction, but I was trying to elaborate or mention was the men are seen as this beacon, right? And now that we are featuring the women, and they're like, well, they're holding two cups, or they're both, very important squads. What did they do? Oh, they won the season unbeaten. Great. What about them? Oh, they won the quadruple. That is who should be sort of be seen as an equal. And I think coming into a club that has that that shows that respect. You don't see that in Liverpool. You don't see that in other clubs. Obviously, they might not have even had a team for years on years. But I'm just extremely proud, and I can say that right now in 2023, Friday January the 13th, is probably the most proud I've ever been of being a Gooner and feeling confident in the future of the club. Because even when talking about the men's team, when we reached the Champions League final, when Dennis Bergkamp was not brought in, I knew it. I was like, something is broken. And from that moment on, I was Wenger out.
He was the most sub player during that time. It's craziness.
Don't even get me started when I would see, and I love Wiltord, but seeing Sylvain Wiltord over Bergkamp every time, I would just like, I kind of wanted to poke my eyes out with a water bottle. So anyhow, I just feel amazing things, and I got watery eyed, and I got so emotional seeing Leon up there, and of course,
Kev's up there.
Rachel. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, that was just, man, the what the club has done for players, like, and vice versa. Obviously, what they have done for the club. Rockcastle, and of course our own Kevin Campbell, Ian Wright, and it's also a lot of people that listen to this are in England, and they've been to Highbury, and they've been to the Emirates ad nauseum. I've never been to a match. There are players that are fans all over the world that have never had that opportunity. So to watch that mural, and the times that I have been to the Emirates and walked around to see those people up in those giants, right? Giant art, it's magical. And now to see the women being represented, it's just like, it actually makes me want to learn more about the club and reconnect and sort of forgive myself for being a douchebag when I was sort of falling out of love with the club for several reasons.
Oh, I think it's this has brought it all back full circle. But I've got the picture of all pictures to show you lot. Are you all ready, everyone, in live chat? And for those who can't see it listening on audio, I'll let you know. You'll know who it is in just a second. For those listening on replay, let us know what your favorite picture is too. But I mean, come on. Even Gunnosaurus made it.
I love it. I love it. My goodness. That is amazing. That is amazing.
This is so epic. I love it. I just want to look at it all day long. It's so amazing. Oh, man. Oh, gosh. That's our club. Right. We'll do our predictions at the end of the show. Let's get stuck into the... Oh, boy, do I have a bunch of messages to read out for you on this one. Okay, so we got Tottenham at the toilet. Let me get your initial thoughts, but before we do that, let me see. Let me just get these questions because you guys are coming in thick and fast. Okay, Lynn. On Sunday in the North London derby, do either of you two think that Conte will try? Oh, yeah. So yesterday on the show, I asked Super Kevin Campbell if there's ever been a game kind of since Wenger v Fergie or Mourinho where a match has been about two managers. And I feel that they're both under the spotlight for different reasons. I could totally see Mikel getting a red card at Tottenham because of this. What do you think?
I agree. But I think that he would know that this is what they would want and what Antonio Conte would try to do. By the way, I saw Antonio Conte play with Juve here in the United States, in Boston, in Foxborough. Like
he didn't have hair then.
Or something. No, he had hair. Yeah, he had hair. Oh, yeah, exactly. He didn't have hair. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Yeah, that's funny. So anyway, yeah, I can totally see it, but I think that this is going to be a lead by example situation with Mikel. And, if there was one thing when we look back at the Arsenal teams of old, when Vieira would get a red card or other players would get a red card, we would play better and we would get fired up because we have giant men in the team right now and not like, Thomas Rosicky that probably could not get into a fight with anybody if needed. No disrespect to little Mozart. But I'm excited about what could happen. I'm excited about tough matches, and I hope that Mikel just does a Zen practice and doesn't fall into the trap, because I can definitely see it happening.
Yeah.
I can see it getting animated.
Let's
and like
read
you said, you know, Harry Kane's going to score, and it's going to suck, but...
Yeah. And we got a lot of Harry Kane messages. Let's see here. We got, let's see. MK says, we must know what we're up against away at the toilet with this corrupt FA. Carrying on from MK, Son will run and bounce on our defenders into the book as well. Tammy says, Trevor, we have Saliba now. So listen, we had no Saliba, no Partey, no Zinchenko last time we went there, no Benjamin White. It's a very, very different scenario. Lone Star says we must start fast as usual. Spurs have been atrocious for the past 10 games in the first half. And also Lone Star just shared that I think 6 of our 8 clean sheets have been away from home. Tammy says Kane always scores against Arsenal. That is a given. He scored 16 goals in a North London derby. And let's see, Kane penalty in the first 5 minutes and lands in Qatar.
It's pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty good.
Very, very good. Jelly legs. Yeah, we can all wish for that. For Sunday, does Tommy play? He had Son in his pocket last time. Nowhere. I don't see Tommy playing over Benjamin White on that side or Zinchenko on the other side. Demian?
I agree. I think we can sort of assume that past games against the same opposition is going to be the same. I think we got to go on form and what is working, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Son will be falling like a sniper fire for sure, man. MK, nobody is a fan of Son. There's no doubt about that. What's your take on Eddie Nketiah? Because, beforehand, of course, including me and Kev, we're talking about, is he long-term going to be good enough? I think we have to still see that, but there's no doubt coming into the game, coming into the replacing Jesus, I said there's no doubt he's the most under stress, whatever. You know what I mean. Arsenal player. No doubt about it. The spotlight is on this guy all the time right now, and he's delivering. What's your take on Eddie? By the way, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of how he's transformed his body. Wow. He's been working hard.
Yeah, and that is what I was going to mention, right? Like, and people are going to freak out. And I will admit right now that I wasn't an Arteta fan. I wasn't an Arteta in fan. I didn't trust the process. I wanted another coach because I love Carlo Ancelotti, because I love Zinedine Zidane, and I, much to your dismay, I love Pep Guardiola. Love Guardiola. So if I could have picked any manager, I would have not picked them three, the same way that I wouldn't pick Ruben Moy over whoever, right? When we signed Gabriel and seeing Eddie play the last couple of seasons, I wasn't too particularly happy with them. Gabriel at Man City, of course. And I've tried to be open-minded and see what they truly are and how incredibly talented they are. And they're good finishers, especially Eddie seems to be a better finisher than Gabriel Jesus. But what would stick in my mind is like, we need a big, strong number 9. That's the kind of forward that I would like to complement the rest of the size of the players. And if Martinelli and Saka are going to be sort of on the shorter side, let's just say, even though they're not short, we need some more of like a Giroud type or Lewandowski and people like that. So I was actually pulling for Emile Smith-Rowe to be our number 9. I still think that he could be a stellar number 9 because he is a big, tall, strong boy. And that's kind of what I want to see.
He might be. I think he's. Kevin always says that in order to play in that number 9 role, you get battered by defenders in the Premier League. Like Jesus has been battered this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And I don't see Eddie getting that same treatment. He might get found out and eventually get it. So let's get the most out of Eddie now until people kind of figure out what he does, or how he does it. So I think if he continues to grow and physically also and grow in confidence, I have no problem with him being our number 9 for the time being. But
you're talking about false 9 for Emile Smith-Rowe?
No. I personally believe that Emile Smith-Rowe could play as a number 9. That is just this is an opinion coming from the same person that never wanted Granit Xhaka to ever wear an Arsenal shirt, right?
Well, there's a few.
I'm an idiot. I know nothing. So take it with a grain of salt, and that's just kind of this, I remember a few months ago or 6 months ago, I mentioned how I would love to have Calvin Phillips, excuse me. Not Kevin Phillips, but Calvin Phillips. And I got pooped on. People were like, you know nothing. I'm like, you're right. I know absolutely nothing. But if Arsenal win, we both are happy, and it doesn't matter who knows more than the other.
Demian, the amount of times I've looked like a fool on this show, if I had a penny for every, or a pound, I'd be a millionaire. Yeah. There's no doubt. Could retire the amount of times I've been a fool. And football makes fools of all of us. But the beautiful thing about the beautiful game is that it's all about opinions, right? And I love this stat. Eddie Nketiah has scored 5 times in his last 5 appearances in all competitions.
Well, I think what Sorry.
I was going to say this is the kind of game where cult heroes can be made.
Totally.
Go on.
And I think we need players with a mean streak, right? We need, like Van Persie, as much as people hate him, you didn't mess with Van Persie, right?
Or Bergkamp.
They were, or Thierry Henry, and players we've had, even Adebayor and stuff. So I to me, just for now, Saka and Martinelli, they're too nice of kids right now. And same with Nketiah, they're always smiling. It's always like, I don't want, I want more of this fucking, I'm gonna fucking kill you vibe. It might come with maturity or with age or whatever, but I wouldn't change anything right now. The team is doing great, and I'm confident. I actually will predict. I don't know if we're ready for predictions. Are we ready for predictions?
I was just responding to someone in the chat. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, let's do predictions, and then we'll finish off with some questions for you.
My prediction for the North London Derby is Arsenal 3, Spurs 1. And I believe that is going obviously Kane is going to score. But I think we're going to go ahead 3-0, and Kane's going to score like in the 80th minute or so, and then people are going to assume that this comeback is happening, and we beat them at the lane.
Okay, and the Arsenal women prediction?
Arsenal women, I'm going to say 2-2. Yeah. I think it's fair. If we get a point from them with a game in hand, we could still be top of the league. So, I'm going to say 2-2.
I am going to go for I've already made my prediction for the North London Derby. It's a 2-2 for me at Desmond. And Arsenal women, I think this might be the time that we surprise Chelsea without 2 of our best players. So I'm going to go 2-1 to the Arsenal women.
I love that.
Curiously, everyone in chat's talking about it too. What result do you want in the Manchester Derby? It's got to be a draw, right? Or do we want United? I don't think we don't want United winning. We want them not to lose or to win, because by the time they get to us, that unbeaten game, that they're 8 games unbeaten right now, it could be 9, and then they get, beaten by us. That run ends is kind of what I want to happen. But what's your take?
My take is a draw. If I had to pick one team winning, I'd rather Man City win. But a draw, I'll take a draw. I hope for a draw. That's what I hope. For
me, the North London Derby is simple. Just don't lose the game. Yeah. And we haven't won there since 2014. And we know how this game goes, and it's actually been a while for Tottenham to have won a game at the Emirates as well. So it either ends up in a loss for the away team or a draw. And, rumors are that Mikhailo Mudryk might be, here before the United game, which would be insane to have a player like him come off the bench. But we'll be talking about the United game next week. And Manchester City are a wounded animal right now, and beware the wounded animal. We know they're a team that can go on an incredible run.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and look what Liverpool did last season too. They were 11 points behind Manchester City, and from the end of January onwards, they went on that crazy run and just lost out by 1 point. Crazy to think that they were going for the quadruple last season and find themselves in this position. Football is just weird.
It is. And it's a big soap opera, and we are in it somehow, some way, all of the fans that are actually get to, because unlike a soap opera, there's no audience. You can actually go witness this. It's almost like wrestling or something. So it's amazing to be a part of it, and it feels good to be a Gooner right now. And
it does.
Oh, it's so good.
It's really good, really good. Dublin Gooner says, I thought I wanted Man United to win, and then I got a little sick in my
I know the feeling.
Totally, Lone Star. If only both of those teams could lose. Marnham Rancid is putting the game on there for the women as well. Martinelli, he needs to he's come back from the World Cup, maybe a little bit tired, maybe, be good timing for us to get Mudryk in as well. I mean, to have those three players, Saka, Martinelli, Mudryk, if Eddie can keep scoring the way he is, Odegaard stays on form, you've got the wall of Thomas Partey in midfield, the resurgence of Xhaka, and a great defense. Pound for pound, I think we're a better team, but when it's a rivalry, you just never know what is going to happen. Okay, I'm going to get you out on a couple of questions that I promised squaddies. Let me see, what did I do with them? Right, Mark wants to know if you've ever played with Carlos Santana.
I have not played with Santana. I respect him immensely, what he's done for percussion specifically, because he always had percussion and has had percussion, will always have percussion, is amazing. But no, I never worked with him.
And who's this? Is it Chamel Hart Country?
Oof, I don't know, but I can do some research and listen to it and then tell you what I think.
All right. Okay. Yeah. And then I had a couple more questions. Where have they? Now they're all like North London Derby talking and stuff like that. I think Crazy Newman had one. Someone had one about Dolly Parton. Someone was asking when you're playing with Miley on New Year's Eve and you're in her band, you can go off and play with other musicians, but let's just say Miley says, I'm doing a gig at X. What happens then? How do you handle stuff like that? So
to take it outside of her and just a brief look into the life of a musician. Let's say that you are working consistently with a famous artist that you love and you respect, right? Sometimes,
hold the horses real quick. Hold on, because Super Kev's in the house and he's saying hello to you.
Super Kev, I'm going to get up. Because you always let it simmer. So
enjoy ourselves, and he wants United to win, and we'll take him out next week at the Emirates. That's
I love
your message from Super Kev.
All right, I like it. So whatever he says, I agree with. So let's just say you have your primary gig that gives you sustenance financially, and you love it, and you're super into the artist. It's great for your career and your resume and big shows and all that stuff. But if they don't play consistently or all the time, it almost doesn't count if you're with that person, because you need to survive, you need to eat, you got to pay your bills, and you got to do other things. So it really depends. If the artist is active, then definitely they're my priority. But if they are not, and I don't have what's called a retainer, which is when artists pay hired musicians a little a stipend or a small salary to kind of keep them involved. If I'm on retainer, obviously that sort of merits loyalty, and I never work with anybody else really. But if I am not on a retainer, I have the freedom to work with other people, and that's somewhat of a gamble that artists are willing to make if they don't have their musicians on retainer. They're like, well, hopefully when we call them, they're available. And if they really want me or want other people and they have the budget, they pay you to stick around. Okay,
very nice. Newman bets that you've heard of Japanese breakfast.
I have heard of Japanese breakfast, but I don't have a clue what they sound like.
Okay. Daniel says he's a pianist and would dream to be able to play for a famous band or singer. How do I go about this?
That's a really great question. So first of all, you need to have self-confidence, and you have to have the humility to learn, to practice, and to basically learn as many real songs of the genre that you want to be in a famous band or a singer of. So if you really want to play the music of Keane, learn that music. Don't learn Bach necessarily. Don't spend a lot of time learning Bach. Learn, elevate the probabilities of you getting to where you want to be. And obviously you have to be grateful, positive, and of course practice a lot, but with intention. you know, when I say this in my musical or music conferences or whatever that I give, sometimes I always end with a Dennis Bergkamp quote that when he said, you know, behind every kick of the ball, there must be a thought. So behind every note that you play, behind every song that you play, every song that you learn, any dream that you have, there has to be a thought associated with it. There has to be intention. You have to, you know, marry that idea and that love and that goal with determination, with proper work, with efficient practicing, with resilience and a bunch of other stuff. So,
all right. Excellent answer. No, I love your passion. I love it. And I love this is Freestyle Friday. We mix it up here at the end and ask anything you want. Demian will answer it. He's being very generous with his time. Trevor Dunn.
I don't know. Trevor Dunn does not ring a bell. I'm sorry. But if Mr. Bungle, a band that I really, really like, if you could specify or tell me a little bit more, and I apologize for not knowing.
Boy wants to know the most talented musician you've come across.
Wow. Oh, that's such a hard question. I would say guitar player Richie Kotzen, somebody that I was able to tour with for a few years. Unbelievable, insane, monster, freak of nature, songwriter, guitar player, singer, everything. And yeah, I mean, as far as working with them, it has to be that. And artist, like a vision and all that, without a doubt, Miley Cyrus. Like head and shoulders above, you know, anybody. Nobody really comes close to her.
Very creative. She knows, she's, and I love her inclusivity and, you know.
Absolutely.
And the women that she had on stage with her as well. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And Daniel's follow-up is, but after all the practice, then what do I do? Just start ringing up companies? Just try and play, right? Just get gigs.
Yeah, you have to play. You have to play and you have to get along with people and put yourself out there and network. And, you know, not to make this about me, but if you're interested in more of this, this is what I do for a living. I help musicians and I mentor them. So this is something that we can talk about because it's not an easy answer in 20 seconds, you know. Because if you think
we'll put you in touch.
Yes, please do.
Why don't you send us an email at Daniel, thehighburysquad@gmail.com, and we will connect you with Demian, and you guys can go at it. And I think the question was, MK, who he's worked with, not who he thinks is the talented musician of all time.
That I've worked with. With, yes.
Okay, two more here real quick. Martel wants to know Dave Grohl or Phil Collins.
Oh my goodness.
You feel it coming in the air tonight?
Oh my God. I would say what? That's like comparing, like, you know, it's like, who do you like more, David Seaman or Gabriel Martinelli? They're completely different players. I'm choking, by the way. I don't know what's happening. I would say if I had to pick, I would say Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. Okay. Awesome stuff. Listen, you guys, we're an hour and 2 minutes in, and we've talked about art, women's football, men's football. We've talked about music, and it's wonderful. And this is what I love about having Demian on the show. I'm going to give a little shout out to a very good friend of mine, Stamy. Her son, Jagger. He is I am Jagger Ace on Instagram. Go give him a follow. He's a very special young man. And he's when he was born with Williams syndrome as well, which is a pretty rare disease. And he loves music. He's obsessed with Alanis Morissette. And he's a really cool kid. And he's just done, you know, he's playing around with music. And he's just released his first little album on SoundCloud. And his name is Jagger Birch Told, Jagger-Birch Told on SoundCloud. Go give him a follow. Go give it a listen. Give him a follow on Instagram. I am Jagger Ace. And whenever Demian and I are on, we're going to give a little highlight, whether it's a budding young musician who's just starting out and tinkering with, you know, an Apple or a Mac or a phone or whatever it is. We will do that as well. And Daniel, young budding musicians like you, if there's any advice that we can give, we will do that as well. So go give Wee Jagger a follow. And plus, you know, he's a fellow Greek as well, half Greek anyway.
I love
That's what I've got for you. So, Demian, next time you're on, you will come with a suggestion as well.
I like it. I love this. Absolutely love it. Thank you for having me, cool. Of course.
Last words from you. Your closing statement for the squaddies tonight ahead of the North London derby, the London derby, any gigs coming up, what's your parting shot to the knuckleheads?
My parting shot is, no matter what happens in the North London derby, no matter what happens in the Chelsea v Arsenal match, none of those clubs will ever have what we have, our history, our culture, and that we're untouchable. Okay, we're untouchable. We're humble. We're good looking. We're untouchable.
We love
so
that.
Just enjoy it. Whatever happens, it's like life. Football is like life. A result happens, it doesn't matter. You move on. Great things happen, great. It moves on. Bad things happen, you have to move on. So just on to the next, and hopefully by mid-May or whenever the season ends, we will be in a very beautiful position as a club, and hopefully build on that.
I love that. And that goes to my saying, I only use the rearview mirror to check my lipstick.
I love it.
That's it. That is it. And look, Lone Star's comment, Tottenham wrecking ball. Let's go in like a wrecking ball.
I hope so. I hope so much.
Let's do it, Gooners. We love you. I will see you for the post-game show after the North London derby. Come and tune in. I will be ready to rock and roll. Hopefully it'll be a victory for the Arsenal. Both teams on Sunday. Massive for our club. Enjoy the football. Take care of yourselves. As Kev says, tell your loved ones you love them. Look after yourselves. And at ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.